We're going to get this party started real quick. I just want to say it's a family-friendly event, so let's keep the questions family-friendly and have fun for everyone. We are going to open up for questions, so there's a microphone over here and a microphone over there. If you're going to ask a question and form a line, please kneel so the people behind you can see. And let's not ask for any like videos or selfies or anything like that. There's time for that later. Sound good? All right, well then let's get this started. Without any further ado, please give a warm Tampa Bay welcome to Brent Spider!
I'm just going to walk in front here. Okay. Anyone want to take a picture? Yeah.
Unless you want to sit right here.
I don't care.
You sit here. How about that? No, I'll sit here. I just want to be close to
The chair.
All right. How you doing, Brent?
Let me take a chair.
Do you really care?
I do.
I'm doing fine. Here I am in Tampa. What could be better? And I'm never leaving. So I'll be at my table signing autographs for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we probably aren't going to have any shortage of questions for you. Everyone here loves you. So if we want to go ahead and open up the floor and have people start lining up at the microphones.
You can open up the floor?
We can open up the floor. You can ask away.
Be careful.
We already have one question over here.
There's no, what was it you said? We're not going to have any shortage or something of questions?
No.
Yeah.
I promise they'll think of questions. Go ahead, sir.
I actually don't have a question. I just wanted to give Brent kind of some feedback. One of the things that I keep hearing about you in all the shows, and yesterday watching in the signature line, you actually seem to enjoy this. You have a passion about it. You seem to have a passion dealing with people. It never comes across like, yeah, I'll sign, yeah, whatever. I love watching you interact with everybody, and I hope you get as much joy out of this as we do. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, you know I am an actor. No, it's like dying and going to heaven. It really is. It's like swimming in a rainbow with thousands of babies.
All right. I'm going to switch over.
Yeah, we're going to do that. We're going to go, because there's like too many people over here. Let's go to the shorter line. Yes, sir.
You may have already heard that Patrick Stewart is coming back as Picard.
Yes, I heard that.
On his Facebook. What's your take on that? Are you excited?
My take on it? I think it's fabulous. I heard about it yesterday, at the same time you did. Well, maybe you heard before I did, because I was busy giving love to the I read about it yesterday. I think it's fantastic. I assume he'll be great in the part of Picard. I trust he will. I've seen him do it. He's great at it. And I hope it's a great, huge success for him. Yeah, I know it will.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you doing?
Doing good. How about you?
You know, he already asked me that. Listening?
I never heard us ask twice.
I said I'm fine. As a matter of fact, I'm so happy just to be here with you.
My question is that back in the day when you guys did Star Trek, did the Next Generation, I think it was, maybe it was Voyager. I'm not sure. I'm kidding. Ranks to one of your cast members or anything that just to mess with them on set or anything like that?
Did I do what?
Did you guys ever like get together to pull like a prank on one of your cast members on set of on the show?
No, never. No, honestly, we never did. We laughed all day long. We were, it was a really fun group of people, and everybody was funny, and the jokes were coming fast and furious, but we never did practical jokes or anything like that. So, no, we really didn't. Sorry.
Thank you. How about over here?
Could you describe your time working on that comedy gem known as Masters of Disguise?
Master of Disguise. Have you seen Master of Disguise, anybody? Turtle. Thank you so much. I've never seen it, actually. So I don't know what the heck you're talking about. But I consider Master of Disguise one of the 3 greatest films ever made. I think it goes Citizen Kane, maybe Schindler's List, Master of Disguise. No, wait a minute. Citizen Kane,
Master of Disguise.
Master of Disguise, Schindler's List. That's the way I feel. But it was a fantastic job working on that film. I took the job for one reason, is that there was something that my character does in the movie that if you've seen it, you'll know what it is, and every time he laughs, but I thought that was funny. I thought that would, and if nothing else worked in the movie, I knew that would. And so I thought, I think I can steal this film. And anyway, then I met everybody, and what's his name? Adam Sandler produced that movie. It was his company. And he has this group of guys who always work for him. They make all of his movies, his crew. And so he made this movie, and Adam's a good guy in this way. He made this movie for Dana Carvey, who's a friend of his. And he'll do things like that. And Dana's a genius, by the way. But Adam said, yeah, I want to make this movie for my friend Dana. And he looked at his crew, and he says, who wants to direct? Literally. And nobody raised their hand. So he said to the director of photography, who usually shoots his movies, do you want to direct this movie? And he said, nah, not really. And he said, anybody want to direct? And the set decorator said, I'll direct it. And he went, okay, you're the director. And that's what it was like. And I have to say, he did a really, a very workmanlike job. He directed like most people direct. He'd say, do it one more time. And that was kind of it. But for a movie that really pretty much didn't have a script, it was brilliant. But I have to say also, Dana made that movie for his 9-year-old sons, and I think he accomplished that. Yeah. Thank you. But really, I can't even, it's been hard for me, but thank God we're back together again.
I will admit, as a cat owner, I can imagine what a pain in the ass spot was at times.
I'm sorry, say that again?
As a cat owner, I know how annoying they can be.
You do?
Yeah.
Well, you've never had to act with a cat, though.
So, I'm kind of my question is around the episode where Data meets his creator and his evil brother shows up. So it's basically 3 of you in the same room. I'm kind of curious how that was pulled off.
How it was pulled off?
Yeah.
Well, we filmed it. I learned the scenes, and then we shot it. And that's how we pulled it off. But I'll tell you what. I was playing Data, of course, the lovable android, and his evil brother Lore, and his creator, Dr. Noonien Sung. Did you really say Noonien Sung just now? Try. Yeah. That's the way I would have said it. And
oh boy.
Anyway, I was offered. I saw the script. I read the script, and I thought, gosh, I think I should play Dr. Noonien Soong. They had already hired an actor, a wonderful actor named Key Luke. Key Luke was well, he was in forget it. No, he was in that show with David Carradine.
Kung Fu!
Kung Fu!
Kung Fu!
Exactly, he played the master in Kung Fu. Do you know what else he did?
A lot.
Well, tell me. He was actually in the Charlie Chan series. He was the #1 son in a lot of those. A wonderful actor. And they'd already hired him, which I didn't know at the time. And I went to Rick Berman, who was producer of the show, and I said, you know, I really think I should play Dr. Noonien Soong, because then it'll have more layers. You know, it's like he built Data in his own image, and so he's his creator, his father, all of that stuff. And he said, okay, we'll pay Key, and you can play the part. And I went, oh no. What am I going to do now? You know, I really thought, how am I going to pull this off? I had no idea. And I kept trying out different voices and I just couldn't get it. And I thought, oh, I'm going to be really embarrassing. I should have let Key Luke do this. And Michael Westmore, who was the makeup artist on Star Trek, he's a genius. He did all of the prosthetics. He did my makeup every day. He did Worf. He was just the greatest, and is the greatest still. So he designed a face for Dr. Noonien Soong with prosthetics and things. And the day before we were going to start shooting, he said, I need to try these on you to see if I need to make any adjustments in it. And he put all the makeup on me, and I looked at myself in the mirror, and I had it. And I thought anybody could do this with this makeup on. I thought, you know what, Milton Berle could do this. But I really credit Michael Westmore with helping me do that part, because I didn't know what I was going to do until I saw myself in the part.
Thanks.
Yeah.
And my other, what is your opinion on the show The Orville, which used to copy a lot of The Next Generation, which you consider doing it?
I'm sure it's very good. I have not seen it yet, but I'm told it's really good and people really enjoy it. I know most of the crew was on our show. The director of photography, Marvin Rush, is brilliant. Seth obviously is brilliant. And Jonathan directs some episodes, and he's a wonderful director. And I haven't seen it yet, not for any reason other than I'm not a big sci-fi guy. I'm really not. I mean, it's wonderful working in it, but when I have spare time, I watch, like I just binged The Wire for the first time. When you walk in the garden, you better, you see The Wire? Oh my God, what a great show that was. I'm sure the Orville's just as good, by the way, don't get me wrong, but no, I intend to watch it, I just haven't had a chance.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
You're talking about your cat, by the way.
Is this just me and you today? Oh, it's okay, it's all right, I'm fine with it, because as I said, I've missed you. But go ahead, what
You
were
were
you saying?
talking about the cat?
Yeah.
And how much you hated it?
I didn't hate it. Why do you say that H word? That's what people say to me when I make fun of the president. They say yeah! You're a hater. And I go, I'm not a hater. I don't hate. Hate is such a big word. It's like, where Spock was concerned, he was simply the worst actor I ever worked with. But I thought it was a precious cat. I just didn't really want to work with it. And the reason why was because every time Spock worked, the day was very, very long because Spock couldn't act. And they would say, you know, they'd write something, well, Spock jumps into Data's lap. And, the cat wranglers, you know, who train the cats, and they were there, and they would have these little sound effects that they go, ee, and the cat's supposed to make the cat jump. That was the cue. They go, ee, and the cat does nothing. And, that goes on all day long. And, you know, literally. And the guys used to write stuff into the scripts. Brent Braga and Ron Moore knew my feeling about that. Please don't write this cat into the story because the cat can't act. And he was very good at being a cat. They write really complicated stuff for the cat to do, you know, that just is a joke. And they had no intention of shooting it. They just wanted to upset me. But in all the years we did the show,
Oh, God.
the only time the cat ever did anything on the first take is they wrote Spot eats tuna out of a can.
Oh, no.
First take. Got it. Thank you. But, thank you. No hate word in my life. I don't go that deep about anything.
No hate.
No hate.
All right, over here.
Hi.
Hi, I have a question for you too, but she's had something she's been dying to ask you since meeting you yesterday and then watching Nemesis.
Of course.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. I've been dying to ask me this question. Are you prone to hyperbole by any chance?
She wants to know if you've ever met Captain Janeway and what she's like.
Have I ever met Captain Janeway? Have I met Captain Janeway? Kidding? We're like this. No, actually, Kate Mulgrew, who plays Captain Janeway, I've known Kate for years. I saw Kate. First time I ever saw Kate, I was a young actor in New York, and I went to a play. A friend of mine was in a play that was actually in the auditorium of a high school. It was a Tennessee Williams play called Camino Real, and Kate was in it. She was 19 years old, absolutely beautiful. I mean, really, I said, who is this girl? She's fantastic and beautiful. Kate Mulgrew. And then she became Mrs. Columbo, and I knew her then. And I've known her ever since. And Kate is really a fabulous person. I love her. Yeah, she's quite dynamic. Does that answer your question, young lady?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Good question, by the way.
My question for you is, you've worked on a variety of projects, not just Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
What has been your biggest challenge professionally?
My biggest challenge professionally? Well, they're all challenging, really. Every time you work, it's sort of like, how am I going to pull this off? Because really, acting is sort of ephemeral, you know, particularly if you're a character actor and you're trying to play different characters. You just hope you can come up with something. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I mean, I've been bad, if that's what you mean. Probably often. But you know, sometimes you're bad, sometimes you're good. You hope you're good all the time, but it just doesn't work out that way. But it's very reassuring when I see an actor who I respect be really bad at something. Because you just never know. It's tough work. I've seen movies that, not to throw a dart or anything, but I've seen movies that Robert De Niro is bad in. Robert De Niro is a great actor. I love Robert De Niro. So whenever I see him not good in something, I go, I love him. It makes me feel so good about myself. I think that's why he does it, too.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Over here.
I know.
Who was more fun to play, Data or Lore?
Was it more fun to play Data or Lore? Well, I really enjoyed playing both of them, but Lore really was easy to play because Laura's like me. I am evil. And so it was easy playing. Yeah. Data was hard to play. The hardest part was just learning the lines. Really, just this stuff that didn't make any sense. You know, I'd work 16-hour days and go home at night to prepare because you have to be on top of it for the next day. And I'd open the script script and my stomach would turn over, you know, because I would be a page of dialogue that has never, and none of those words have ever come out of your mouth before. And as I found, and as a lot of our guest stars found, it was about muscle memory, really. If you haven't said the words before, they're not going to come out. And we had many guest stars who would show up really good actors who could not say the lines. And they would say, God, I could do it last night, but they only did it in their heads the night before. They hadn't actually said it out loud. And the trick was really to say it out loud because you had to get your mouth used to, you know, saying those words. So that was difficult. Hi.
Hi. Just to try to break up the data thing, who's been your favorite character to voice?
Who's been my what?
Favorite character to voice, like Puck from Gargoyles, Riddler, Joker?
Well, I like doing Patrick Stewart. Have you heard about my new series with CBS? Can't wait to get back in the saddle. No, you know what? My favorite character to voice. I don't know. I had to do. I've done a lot of animated voices. I mean, it doesn't seem like it because none of them have been very good. But I played. I played the Joker once on Young Justice. Mark Hamill, who famously is one of the great Jokers, decided he didn't want to do it anymore. And so they called me and they said, would you do the Joker? And I said, yeah. So I went in and I did my take on it, and it was kind of exciting. And I only did it once. And then there's a series that's running now, I think, called Justice League. And Hamill decided he wanted to do the Joker again. And so he came back, and then they asked me to do the Riddler. And so there was an episode where Mark played the Joker and I was the Riddler, all in the same episode, which was really fun because he's an old friend of mine. And there you go.
And just one more thing, I'll tell you that Puck was always my favorite character.
Puck was your favorite character?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you very much for voicing him.
Oh, pleasure, thank you. That was from Gargoyles. Do you remember Gargoyles? Yeah. Gargoyles was so far ahead of its time as far as what's happening now. I mean, I think if Gargoyles premiered now, it would be a slam dunk. Yeah. And they'd be making Gargoyles features. If anybody can say Gargoyles. I can say it, sort of. But Greg Weisman, who created Gargoyles, really fantastic, brilliant guy, and that show should, I really wish Disney would get on it and do a Gargoyles feature, because I think it'd be great. And then I could play Puck.
What's the most ridiculous thing that happened during filming?
The most ridiculous thing that happened during filming? I don't know. I mean, a lot of ridiculous things happened. We made ridiculous things happen. We were a very unruly bunch, and we had a director pretty early on. It was like maybe in the first season, who said, "I can't work with these people. They're too wild." And we would be clowning and making noise, and you know, traditionally they say, okay, we have speed, meaning the sound is there, and they go, okay, camera and rolling and action. And we would, when they would say we have speed, we would stop, get it together, rolling and action, and we'd act. Eventually, it took until action. We would be clowning, action, we'd snap. And so this guy went to Rick Berman, our producer, and he said, I'm not coming back. I can't do this again. And so Rick called us all into a room. I think it was the captain's ready room. And he said, look, we've got this director, he's a really good director, he's done a lot of stuff, and he said, you guys are just too wild. He can't, and Patrick said, I am appalled. He looked at all of us. Never in my life have I been in a company like this. And Denise Crosby said, well, Patrick, we're just trying to have some fun. He goes, we're not here to have fun. And Jonathan was crying. And it happened to be in the, and so we were all, very apologetic, and it happened to be the episode where Tasha Yar went into the, pool of Metamucil, which is what it was, by the way. And, so at the end of that episode, there was this beautiful bucolic hillside that Patrick did a speech on. We came the next day to do that scene. Patrick was on top of the hill, and he starts to whirl around going, "The hills are alive!" And we pointed out to him that, he should be appalled at himself. And he was as bad as we were from that day on. We just said, you know what, don't bring this guy back to direct. We'll just continue being bad. That's sort of how ridiculous it got. Thank you. Hey there.
Hi, it's me. I was wondering just how much romantic tension there was between Jonathan Frakes and Sir Patrick Stewart on set.
I never betray trust. But there was a lot of tension.
Thanks.
Yeah. Good question. Thank you. A very, very fine costume as well. I've seen some phenomenal cosplay here. Did you see the two ladies who were like from the Titanic? Yeah. Unbelievable. That was brilliant. Well, they're professionals. They're called costume something, cosplay witches, cosplay something like that. Anyway, they're great. Hey.
Pleasure to be here. I want to know if there was a genre that you have not performed in that you wish or want to.
I think I've done everything. Well, I know. I mean, like name a genre, and I'll tell you if I've done it.
Horror.
Huh?
Horror. Like horror.
Horror. I'm on a series called Outcast. That's on Cinemax right now. The second season's on Cinemax. Unfortunately, that's all we shot for 2 seasons. Great show. Robert Kirkman, who does Walking Dead. That was a show of his based on one of his comics. I love that show, and I'm the devil in it. I'm evil. And horror, scary. Just read a review of it the other day that said, unlike most shows on television that are supposed to be scary, this one is really scary. Go ahead, name another genre. We'll go through my resume here. What's that?
A serious romantic drama.
Introducing Dorothy Dandridge. I did on HBO with Halle Berry. Very serious romantic drama. Yeah. Go ahead, throw one at me. Huh? Comedy, never done it. Western, of course. I've done, A Fistful of Datas was a Western. I did a modern Western. Wait, is somebody saying something here? Were you speaking? Why did you say no if you, I did another Western, I did a modern Western called, I mean, it's not modern anymore because I did it probably 30 years ago, but it was called The Manhunt for Claude Dallas. Originally, when I took the part, the film was called Outlaw, which I thought was pretty good. And then all of a sudden, CBS, in their wisdom, changed Outlaw to The Manhunt for Claude Dallas. Now, who wouldn't want to see that? Really, corporate decisions. But yeah, it was kind of a modern Western. And, yeah.
Okay, how about martial arts?
Martial arts? Yeah, I was the star of a movie called Enter the Dragon. No, you know what? I actually had the only martial arts kind of stuff I've ever done. I just did, which was a friend of mine. I did this web series called Fresh Hell. Thank you. Please. And, the director of Fresh Hell was a really clever guy, and a very creative guy. And he called me and he said, "I'm directing a little piece for Universal Amusement Park in Shanghai, and it's this whole sort of a sorcerer and a young kung fu artist, this young woman, and he has a staff, and she fights him. And would you be the sorcerer?" And I said, I don't know. And he goes, "Well, the other person in it is Steven Spielberg." I said, "Yeah, I'll be the sorcerer." I mean, I didn't talk to Steven Spielberg. We kind of nodded to each other, but, and he just nodded because I nodded. He didn't know what it was. But so, yeah, I got into a little thing. So if you're ever at the Universal Shanghai, look for me. It's going to be playing for the next, 50 or 60 years. I don't think I've ever done I've just done a tiny piece. I was going to say I've never done a war movie, but I did a little piece in a movie where I was a guy who had been in Vietnam, and there were flashbacks to that, and I was in the mud, and So, I've done it all. Huh? Sitcom, sure. I was on Frasier, I was on Cheers, I was on Friends, Big Bang. Musical? No, I've never done a musical. Of course I've been on Broadway 6 times. Sci-fi? No, I don't care for sci-fi. I try to stay away from that.
Oh, God.
Are you happy? Thank you. What's that?
Fantasy genre.
Fantasy. Fantasy. By elves and things? Does it have to have an elf in it? An elf? They're not elves. It's not an elf. It's an elf. I don't know. I'm doing some episodes of Supergirl. Is that fantasy? On Supergirl! No, I'm not going to talk like that. Hey, thank you so much.
I just wondered, you talked about different genres, obviously, for the last few, when you talked about data versus lore or different roles. In Enterprise, you played a scientist, a geneticist who was like creating super beings.
Yes.
And some of my friends and I, when we watched it, you seemed to have huge presence in that episode. You really seem to believe, no, I'm making things better. Whether it causes all these other things or not, what roles do you enjoy the most? Data was this naive, almost child so much of the time. Lore was evil, and you talked about Outcast being evil. That character was more of a gray, more like you thought you should be doing this, whether it's right or wrong. What do you enjoy the most?
Evil. No, I'll tell you what. My favorite show I ever did was a movie called Out to Sea. Did you ever see Out to Sea? Yes. Out to Sea was. The rest of you need to go watch it. But it was Jack Lemmon and Walter Matthau and me and Donald O'Connor and Elaine Stritch and Diane Cannon and on and on and on and on. And I got to hang out with Jack and Walter every day. I couldn't wait to get to work. was a wonderful comedy. I had a great part. I was sort of the villain in it, but he was more of a, he was a comic villain. He wasn't really bad, but yeah, there were just moments doing that movie that were just overwhelming because I'd been such a fan of theirs growing up. I mean, Jack was my hero growing up, and then to be with him and Walter at the same time, it was really incredible. I'll tell you a story that Walter told me. Did Jack tell me this story? Well, no, Jack told me this story. That he had made a movie, Jack Lemmon had made a movie called The April Fools, or something like that. And he wasn't sure how good it was or bad it was. He just didn't know. And he said, at the premiere, he asked Walter to come with him to the premiere so he could tell him whether he was any good in it or not, because he really respected Walter's opinion. When we were doing scenes we were on a ship. When we were doing scenes, Walter would say to Jack, are you really going to do that? And he'd say, well, yeah, why? And he goes, because it's not funny. And Jack would say, well, how do I do it? And he'd show him, and he'd go, you're absolutely right. And so he really gave Walter a lot of room. And anyway, so he asked Walter to go with him to the premiere of The Out-of-Towners. And after the movie, they were walking out of the theater together, and Jack looked at Walter and he says, well, what do you think? And Walter said, can you get out of it? That's a great line.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank you. Over here.
Yes.
Big fan of Fresh Hell.
Thank you.
And I'm glad.
Please.
Yes. It's awesome.
Yeah.
You should watch it. And I'm glad you're making appearances after the incident.
But,
So.
just for the moment, until I got caught again, how ahead of its time was that? Because now, everybody's got an incident.
Yes.
Yes,
they do.
That was the premise of this show that I did was, I played myself, and I'd been basically kicked out of show business, and everyone in the world who I met on the street just hated me and thought I was just a pariah because of something that we called the incident. We never said what it was. We knew what it was. But now, this was 5 years ago. Now, everybody's got an incident, really,
My question was, in Next Generation, Data had so much versatility with the roles that he did.
Mhm.
This one of Data's, the one with the masks.
Yeah.
Did that come about because of
My skills?
your skill? Because Data is programmable? Was there discussions about
Well,
how to go out?
the concept always was Data was going to explore humanity and try on different sort of clothes of different people to try to understand what that aspect of humanity was about. I remember a director of third season said to me, you will be so sick of this character by the end of 7 years or whatever, because you're not going to be able to do anything. You can't show any emotion. It's going to be so boring for you. And I said, I don't think so. And it turned out to be not boring at all. I got to play, 30, 40 other characters. And so, I don't know if it was because of me or just because of the character they decided to go that way. But I think once they saw I could do it, they wrote it for me. I mean, they created a lot of opportunities for me on that show. And it was kind of a dream job in that way. It really was. Thank you.
Thank you. We've only got time for 2 more questions. One over here, one over there.
Hello, I'm Clark Kent from the Daily Planet.
Clark, nice to see you. I haven't known you anywhere.
So, can you tell us?
Please don't take your clothes off and show us Superman.
Can you tell us a little bit about your early career and how you got started and how you got the role of Data?
Of what? The role of what?
The role of Data.
So you obviously have never seen the show.
It's Data.
I'll tell you about that, as a matter of fact. Forget my early career. There are people walking out right now. You are going to miss the best stuff. You're in such a hurry to get to, I don't know where you're going, but if you must, bye-bye. No, I'll tell you what, when I first got the part, let me start backwards, okay? Well, all right, I'll start where you want me to. I went to high school. Well, I was born. Let me go even further back. I was very young when I was born. When I got the part of
Data.
I thought the character's name was Data. I really did. I mean, I saw it on the page, and everybody said Data then. Nobody said Data then. And so I was Data. And I auditioned a few thousand times, and they finally cast me. And then we had a meeting in at a hotel, at the Sheraton Hotel in LA, a big boardroom. Big, long, oval-shaped table, and the whole cast was around the table, the producers, Gene Roddenberry was there, and we read through the script for the first time. And we got to Patrick, and Patrick's saying something, and he says, Data, could you? And I went, wait, what did you say?
Data.
Data? And I said, I looked at Gene, and I said, is it Data or is it Data? He said, it's whoever says it first. And I became Data at that moment. And that held true for the rest of the series, all the way for 7 years. The rule of thumb was, if, you know, alien cultures or whatever, people with odd names, whoever said it first, that's the way we all said it. And it's kind of fascinating that in time, I really think Data has become much more common than Data now. And I have to give credit to myself. And Patrick, of course, for saying it that way. Anyway, Clark, I think I've got time for one more question.
Hopefully
Oh, you want to go ahead. Let's let Clark make a fool of himself. What?
You mentioned your role with Ellie Berry in introducing Earth Dangerous.
Right.
So were you very jealous of Billy Bob Thornton in Monster Ball?
Yeah. I really was. But you know, oddly, I mean, Hallie in that movie, she has several romances in that movie. I played her manager, who was in love with her. And there was a scene, and it came very late in the filming, where we were supposed to kiss. And Hallie went to the director, Martha Coolidge, and she said, I don't feel right about this, because I've kissed every other man in the movie. I mean, it's gonna look like Dorothy was, you know, I really don't think it's right. I don't think I should have to kiss Brent. So, Martha came to me and she said, you know, Hallie had this point, and I guess I see what she's saying. I mean, it's going to make Dorothy look like she's sleazy or something, that she's kissing everybody. And is that okay with you? And I said, okay. I said, Hallie, you're going to have to kiss me right now. Because I've told all my friends I get to kiss you. We don't have to do it on camera, but get over there.
The big one.
Any upcoming announcements?
What's that?
You want to announce anything here in Tampa?
Do I want to announce anything? I'd just like to say I'll be running for president. I don't know what to think about how to do that, but then.
Terribly sorry, we are out of time. I'm sorry, we're out of time.
Oh, give him one more.
All right, make it quick.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I was just wondering if there's ever a particular scene during TNG that made you like it broke your android persona on camera a lot. You had to take a lot of takes. Was there ever anything that made you like just break your android persona?
No, I was perfect every time. Thank you you for asking that.
Brent's spot.
Thanks, everyone.